Tori Kruse. Welcome to my channel. If you're new, please subscribe and hit that notification bell. Also follow me on social media at Miss Tori Kruse. I really appreciate it. Today I have a special guest for all of you. Her name is Jodie Palmer. I met her at a women's conference in Orange County, and she is just absolutely incredible. I'm excited for her to share all of her knowledge with you today. She is an educator and counselor for the past 20 years. She started her business, Amplify You, with a mission to accelerate success for young adults. So any of you young adults out there, be sure to grab a piece of paper and pen. You will be taking notes. She's amazing. So welcome, Jodie. I'm so thankful to have you on the show today, and I just really appreciate you taking the time.
Hi, Tori, and on the audience here. Thanks for having me. And that was a great introduction. I appreciate so much enthusiasm around that and for your listeners. And I'm excited to be here.
Yes, absolutely. So, give us a little bit of, I mentioned your business, Amplify You, and you work with young adults and really help their confidence and their mindset. So give us a little background on that, and what is your why behind starting that company?
What really propelled me into starting that company, there's two pieces of it. Mm-hmm. And the first piece of it is that I was a high school counselor, and I would sit in my office and I had my tool belt of everything that I had learned in school, my strategies, and how I was going to help these kids achieve success. And instead, my experience was that they would come into my office, and the self-doubt that I would hear in the whispers of their voice lingered. And it really got to me. Mm-hmm. And I at first I felt very discouraged, and I just thought to myself, what can I do so that they don't leave my office feeling full of self-doubt? And so I would just ask them questions. I would ask them what they like to do. I would ask them what they're good at. I would ask them what's important to them. And I continued to ask these questions for years over and over. And really, truthfully, that was 15 years ago, and I have never stopped. But these questions that I would ask, they would reveal traits and characteristics about my students and my clients that shared their values and what's important to them. It highlighted what their skills and strengths were, and then what their interests were. And so I used that into creating this program, Amplify You, where teens can really explore these deep, intricate parts about themselves in order to discover more about themselves, to be in alignment with their career path. And I believe that what we are out here to do, it's already within us. It just takes us to really dig deep and discover that. So that's the first part as to it. And then the second part is that I have struggled with self-doubt and dislike of myself in different areas for times in my life. And it's been the piece when I really stepped into owning my power in my career that has given me the capacity to just continue to flourish and build and grow and expand exponentially year to year to year to year. And so it's really both those platforms that why I'm so passionate about this career place and then about teens. And it really has bled together to this glorious experience for me and my clients.
That's incredible. And I'm sure a lot of listeners here are thinking, wow, I want to live out that passion. I want to live out that kind of life for myself. How has that process been for you and really finding that? I know you just described seeing those teens and seeing that doubt firsthand, but what has that process been like personally for you and finding that true purpose in life? Are there any action steps that you have that you could advise any of these women listening?
Well, I would say, first of all, I really sought external validation. I'm going to say that again. I continue to seek external validation. I sought validation from my family and from my friends. I sought validation through accolades and awards and accomplishments and degrees, and I have them all on the wall, and they all don't mean much to me. What really was the moment where I channeled all those things was just actually giving myself permission to step into who I wanted to be and continually to build my confidence and my mindset in the actions that I was taking. And oftentimes people think that we need the confidence first and then we're going to take the action. And it's actually the complete opposite. You need to take the action and you get the confidence from that.
Yes.
And so all of those experiences that I've had, and you know, they've been one after another, like, oh, I'm gonna try this, and okay, well, now I want to try this. And it really was this constant like seeking after something that really actually was already within me. And so I really channel that with my clients in going within and finding who do you want to be, and then moving on towards becoming that and building your confidence, which I know you do as well with your clients.
Oh my gosh, that literally hits home for me completely, because it is so true. The action that you take, you just have to keep going and keep fighting until you just discover this one thing that works. And I mean, there was so much trial and error, you know, going to Miss USA, you know, I had to lose and lose and lose before I actually won. And you couldn't be more right. You just have to keep taking action and pushing harder, and then you will find that result that you're actually craving.
Yeah. And I think the thing about it is that it's never going to change. Like,
no.
the quote unquote challenge, it really, if you look at it as a gift, every challenge you get and you take of life, it's always going to be a challenge. Like stepping into being someone different or doing something better or with more preciseness or achieving something greater. There's always going to be, it's going to be a challenge. And I work out regularly in the gym every day, not currently, but, and people would come to me and they would say, like, sort of people who are starting that are new, and they would say to me, when does it get easy? Like, it never gets easy. It doesn't, because next time you're just going to do more reps, or next time you're just going to go faster, or you're going to increase your speed, or you're going to increase your weight. And so really that applies to so many areas in our life, in the world of our relationships and what's important to us there, in the world of, you know, our career and what we want to pursue and what we want to look at giving back in the world. And so the challenge will always be there. It's really having the mindset of knowing I can take on any challenge that I'm gifted with.
Absolutely. I always say every single no is just one step closer to your yes. And that has just drove it home for me every single time, because you can get really discouraged, right? When you get no's, whether it's in your business or your daily life. And if you don't keep pushing and pushing, then you're never going to get that yes that you want. So great advice. What kind of habits would you say have led you to success?
Oh, goodness. That is a loaded question. And I would say I definitely did not start off being a creature of habit, of successful habits that I am today. I really bled and worked into those things and added them little by little. So every time I evaluated, well, what's an area of my life where I want to reveal more or find more or seek more, and then I would add that component into my life. So I'll share a real succinct way of explaining to the listeners how a morning mindset routine really helps to set me off on my day. And I have morning and evening rituals that I do. And they, like, even the small minute one is flossing, for example. You know, that's a habit that everyone should really be, you know, working towards incorporating into their life, right?
I have to stop you right there for a second, because it's so funny you said that. I literally, this sounds gross, but I just hate flossing. It's one of those things that just, I just hate it. But I asked a dentist one time who was like, she wasn't practicing at the moment. We were like shopping or something. And I asked her, I'm like, okay, like how often do I really have to floss? Like how often? And she's like, I always tell my patients, she's like, floss as many teeth as you want to keep. And I was like, oh, dang it. So anyways, just a little side note. So anyways, now I floss all the time because I want to keep all my teeth.
I do. And actually it's not something I can go to bed without doing. And I know that
Yeah.
seems so silly, but I will say I haven't always been a flosser. Like really, that's just a habit that I've added in my life, like very much recently. And now it's definitely a part of my routine. But one of going back to sort of my morning, because I think that's the most important time, really when our mind is fresh and working towards, being the person who we want to show up in that day. And so I start off every morning in a place of silence and just giving myself time to listen to my thoughts. Now, I do have intentions about the silence that I create for myself around every day. And oftentimes that silence has to do with something that I want to generate in my life, whether it be a connection with someone who's important to me or a goal for business or something along those lines. So I do set intention there. And you could call this prayer, or you could call this meditation, or whatever you want to be, but it really is just a time for me to sit in silence and actually just listen to myself. And it's so important that we start our day off with this, because we haven't put anything in our minds yet. We haven't checked social media. We haven't looked at our emails. There's nothing that's clogging the funnel for you to tap into the resource of you. And you are your greatest resource. So spending time with yourself alone on a daily basis initially is vital. So that's the first one. The second one is affirmations. So who do I want to be and how do I want to show up today? So this is not about what you want to do. This is who you want to be. I want to feel empowered. I want to feel energetic. And those are the components that are what I focus on during my affirmation time. The second would be the visualization. And so the visualization here is looking at what I want to create for my life and who I want to be. And I actually put myself in that experience. And so, for example, when I was really working on becoming a speaker on stage, I hadn't done that yet, but I would actually put myself in the experience of being on the back of the curtain and them announcing me and me walking onto stage and feeling the excitement and the energy from all the audience. And in those moments, laying by myself and visualizing this, I would feel the energy and the excitement for people who were going to get to receive my message. And so that practice of visualization, it could be for our Miss Teens, kids, girls who are walking on the stage and they want to receive that. The power of visualization in that moment, that you're actually already receiving what you want in your life and you're actually already living into having it be. So the third one is visualization. The fourth one is exercise. So I exercise on a daily basis. And sometimes, depending on how my body feels, it might just be a 30-minute walk. And sometimes it might be a spin class. Sometimes it's a boxing class, and really depends on, my mood. And if I'm feeling relaxed or sassy, oftentimes it's yoga. And at the bare minimum, it could be just foam rolling, but getting my body into an exercise, into a moving experience. So that's the fourth one. The fifth one is going to be reading. And this is just an opportunity for me to learn something new that I want to learn. And I like to gear this towards business and learning something new for business, but it really just has to be a short period of time. And what I try to focus on is reading to the point of revelation, to the point of where I learned something and I could articulate it. Today I've learned this, and I could share that with someone. And I only am looking for one golden nugget a day. And then the last is journaling and writing out what my thoughts are. And sometimes, again, I have an intention and I ask myself a question and then I write to it, or sometimes I just write, how am I feeling? But I have journals upon journals upon journals. And it's really amazing.
Too.
Yeah, those are a few of the things that I do that incorporate. There's many more with regard to, habits for healthy eating and, all those things, but those are the things I do on a daily basis. And when I do the writing, I'll go back to it. In that time, I actually write a note to my significant other and my daughter.
That's amazing.
So every day I just write to them what I love, honor, and appreciate about them. then that's part of what I do for myself too, what I love, honor, and appreciate about myself.
I love that. I love that addition. Literally everything you just said, besides the note part, I might take you up on that. That's really cool. But literally everything else you said is my exact morning routine as well. Yeah. And I tell you what, it really does get your mind in the right place. And how long does that take you?
Well, so each of them are a little bit different, and it just kind of depends. I try to set 10 minutes for each of those activities. So it would take about
besides working out.
Exactly. I was just going to say that, besides working out. And I got this idea from Hal Elrod, who is an amazing world-renowned author, and he's written a book called The Miracle Morning. And so I incorporate that into my life, and I've tweaked it a little bit to put in parts that I really find for me in reading and what I do to manifest as well. Like that's part of it. And so I've tweaked it a little bit to work for me, but I think that's where you get that creativity of like, oh, I'm going to take this, but I'm going to make it my own. And exactly. So the inspiration comes from him.
Yeah, that's really cool. That's amazing. And I totally agree. I mean, I wake up at 5 a.m., 5:30. So yeah, and what time do you wake up? Do you go to bed early? Do you wake up early, or what's that like for you?
Yeah, I go to bed at 9, and then I wake up by 6. So before, when I was working out, I was up at 4:30. But I definitely have given myself a little bit of cushion with regards to waking up, because most of the time it was waking up at 4:30 and then working out from 5 to 6 every day.
Yeah. I mean, I'm right there with you. It's during quarantine time. It's a little bit different. But still sticking to that morning routine is huge. And yeah, you can definitely tell when we don't do it, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
If there's anybody listening that is a teenager right now and they're taking online classes, what do you recommend to them so they can stay on track and they don't get behind and they don't get discouraged?
Oh, setting a schedule up every day, actually. And I just taught a webinar last week on this to my clients and their parents helping and supporting their clients, but setting up a schedule every single day. And so the way, and I'll just, sum it up really quickly, but every day I write the date down and I write down the 6 things that I want to accomplish for the day. So for a teen, it might be practicing my Spanish language, getting my math workbook done doing 45 minutes of reading, getting my science project together, so these 6 components. And so you write those down. And then the component that I add in that's so important is how you want to feel all day long after you accomplish this. Like, I know I'm going to feel radiant. I'm going to feel ecstatic. How are you going to feel? Because it's so important. I want this feeling. And we want that feeling of courage, and we want that feeling of production. And how are you going to feel? So I write that down, how I will feel, and then add that in. And then the next piece is that I schedule that into my day in 45-minute increments. So if anything takes more than 45 minutes, it actually becomes 2 items. And the reason why 45 minutes is so important is because adults and students aren't able really to focus for more than 45 minutes. It really is that time chunk of our sweet spot. And so I'm going to read for 45 minutes, or I'm going to look at my Spanish language, and then I'm going to plug that into my time slots. And then you give yourself, I put my timer on for 45 minutes, and you give yourself a 15-minute break after that. And then you get back onto the next or the same topic. If it's the same topic, it's obviously now a separate time chunk, but that really gives you a 7-hour day where you're accomplishing 6 major tasks, and you have your lunch break in between, and you start your morning off like I had just described with your miracle morning. And that really is a full day.
That's incredible. So how important is it right now for teenagers to not sleep until noon and not stay up till midnight watching TV?
Well, I'm going to say, even outside of just being right now, is our body really likes to sleep in a particular rhythm, and our body notices and aligns with the circadian rhythm of the moon and the sun. And it knows that when the sun is going down and the moon is coming up, it actually changes the levels of energy that are in our body, and our body's preparing to go to sleep. And so the ideal time to go to sleep, and I'm not a sleep expert by any means, but the ideal time to go to sleep really is going to be between 9 and 10 o'clock, because that's about, depending on where you are, the amount of time after the sun goes down that your body is now unwinding. And so really keeping to a routine of going to bed. And for teens, they really need 10 hours of sleep. And I ensure that I get 8 hours of sleep, and teens, because what happens when you're sleeping is your brain is actually cleaning itself. And there's a lot of scientific terms around it, but that's the easiest way to explain it, that your brain is cleaning itself. It's taking what you experience during the day and it's placing it into short-term, long-term memory. It's filing those things for you to be able to do that. And so if you think like, oh, I never can remember things, or I'm having trouble, you really might want to evaluate your sleep habits, because if you're not getting enough sleep, and you would need ideally 10 hours, you're not giving your brain enough time to store those things. The second thing that happens when we're sleeping is that our body is repairing itself and it's growing. So for all those teens out there who want to, get height and grow and really, look
every
at
teenage boy, all wants to be about 6'3", 6'4".
Yeah, you got to exercise, you got to eat right, and you got to make sure you are sleeping. It's really the number one hack for really business, teens, everyone. I think they think, if I can get more done, I'll just sleep less. And it's really, really not the optimal way to perform.
Wow, you just gave so many great pieces of advice. I hope everybody's taking so many notes right now. But I just want to thank you so much for just taking the time to do this, because literally you've provided so much information. I think everybody's going to be playing this on replay because they're jotting down so many notes. So how can people contact you if they love your message, they are experiencing a little bit of this doubt, but they know that they can pull through this with your help? How can they get a hold of you?
Yeah, thanks, Tori. Well, I first want to say that I think sometimes we get discouraged and we don't realize that the problem that we're experiencing is something that someone else has already experienced. And I know for me, that's a big factor I know whatever challenge I'm experiencing, someone has done this before and they figured it out. Marie Forleo says, everything is figure-outable.
Yeah.
And it's so true. And if you need someone in your life that can help you to figure out your problems or your challenges or whatever you're experiencing, it's okay, number one, to ask for help. And number two, when you ask for help, oftentimes you're able to solve it that much quicker.
Yes.
So, reaching out and saying, hey, look, I want this, or I'm having challenges with this. That's why we have mentors and we have coaches in our life. And I know that that's why you and I relate so well to one another, is because we both really have this mindset that coaches are here to really pour into us. And it's my philosophy for working with my clients. And so I have a few different areas where I serve. One of them is on the social platforms. So I'm on Instagram at amplify.you, and as well for parents on LinkedIn. And this is a great platform to get tips and tricks for supporting your teen. I also am a digital course creator. So I've created a course that helps for teens to optimize their experiences during high school and how they can use those accomplishments to funnel and move into a successful career. And so that's an option as well, and available if you go to really any of my social platforms, there will be links to those there, the link to that digital course. I also have a podcast, and the title of that is Divine Career Design. And I'm in my podcast studio right now, actually.
Some cool abstract design going on behind you, right?
Yeah, I love it. Podcasting is absolutely fun. And I never thought it, but man, I was like, oh, I was born to be on a mic, because when I get on the mic, Yeah, I just absolutely love it. And then lastly, my website is amplifyu.org. And so that's available there too. And I love to connect to people. So please find me on, Instagram. I spend a lot of time there. I love it. And I'd love to hear from you. And then please tell me that this is where you found, me and the message here, because I love knowing where everyone's coming from and connecting all those dots. That makes it so much fun.
Yes, it is so much fun. That's the beauty of social media these days, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Awesome. Well, thanks again, Jodie. I really appreciate your time, and I hope to see you soon again in maybe California again.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you so much, Tori. And I just want to acknowledge you too for everything you're doing to serve your community and your population, and that you really continue to stand in the power of who you are and show up for making a difference for the girls and the lives of the people that you touch.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that.
Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed that episode just as much as I did. Please put your comments below, click subscribe, and hit that notification bell. Also, follow me on social media at Miss Tori Kruse. Until next time, be unstoppable.